Welcome back. We're here with Dr. Mayor Eisenstein talking about Obamacare. Doctor, how will Obamacare change the number of people able to access health care?
It won't. There was no problem before. There'll be no problem now. There was never a problem. Our hospitals in this country are the greatest in the world. I worked at Cook County Hospital, which is the public hospital here in Chicago, and the care that was given there was equally, if not better, than the suburban hospitals. And everyone had a right to go there. No one was denied care. No one was turned away. You want a decent meal in this country? You show me a place where you can get it where they'll let you eat without paying. But the hospitals, absolutely. And doctor's offices, no difference. Medicine has never been about money. Law is always about money. That's all law is about. And politics is always about money, and so it's not going to change anything. All we'll do is bankrupt the country because things that people were paying for before. I look at Obamacare as wanting to have insurance to pay for putting gas into your car. That's exactly what it is. You need insurance for a car, but not to put gas into the car or change your oil. You need it, God forbid, you have a serious accident and either you're injured, that's part of the insurance, someone else is injured, or your car is totaled. And cars today are major investments. They're no longer $2,000 or $3,000. They're in the multiples of thousands of dollars. That's what you need to be covered. But thank God that doesn't happen that often. But that's what insurance is. You don't insure everyday occurrences. If you need a visit to the doctor, you don't need insurance for that. If you have a broken arm or broken leg, if you have a serious illness, you need to be hospitalized. That's where you need insurance, not for the low-level type of expenses.
Now, what about the one-year extension for people losing coverage? Obama pushed that. Why?
Because they were going to introduce legislation, the Democrats, the senator from Louisiana, to do this in a more devastating way. And this would have been politically unacceptable, that his own party would put in laws that would extend or essentially eliminate Obamacare for a certain segment of the population for a year. Once that would have happened, the whole thing will unravel, and that's the end of it. Because what's going to happen after a year? We're going to be in the same place. He's going to try to then spend a year to convince people to switch into the exchanges. Now, interesting enough, the exchanges are cheaper. There's no question about that. But the reason why people haven't signed up, if you ask my opinion, is why I wouldn't sign up. I don't trust that what the government is giving you today will be the same as they're giving you tomorrow. It's the same reason why I never use the post office if I have something important to be delivered. I'll use UPS, I'll use Federal Express, because they have a vested interest. Because if the package doesn't get there, they will lose Mayor Eisenstein as a customer. But the post office has no vested interest in getting your package there. Likewise, the government, the federal government, has no vested interest. Once they've taken over all the health insurance industry, they have no vested interest in doing that. The idea of competition is a great idea. In medical malpractice, it used to be you had to only buy insurance in your own state. They changed the law a little bit, and my insurance comes out of California. It's equally effective in all 50 states, but it's about 30% cheaper than I was paying before. That's where you create competition. You don't have monopolies selling products, but you allow competition within the capitalistic marketplace.
Now, are medical facilities more or less likely to provide low to no cost care to patients under this new law?
What does it mean, low cost care? I mean, most of the care that's given in this country isn't necessary. We've talked in the past about vaccines. If they eliminated the whole program, the country would be healthier. Thomas Edison, Mark Twain said it the best. If all the pharmaceuticals in this country were thrown into the ocean, the fish would be very sick, but the people would be very healthy. I think the problem is we have too much unnecessary care. And it's not Mayor Eisenstein saying that. Antibiotics. We treat 22 million children with ear infections, and the American Academy of Pediatrics said less than 10% of them need antibiotics. Think of the wasted money there. MRIs, CAT scans, they're done now routinely, where almost all the studies show they aren't necessary.
Doctor, why is this? Why are we as Americans just conditioned to get care for every single ailment?
Well, first of all, we are. They worry us that if we don't do this, something very serious is going to happen. But now that I put my doctor hat on, I'm worried about lawsuits. I'm worried I'm going to be sued. You want to cut down a medical care cost, put tort reform in. The vaccine industry has zero liability. You can die from a vaccine. It can be proved that you died from the vaccine. They have zero liability. Because as a lobby, they said to the government, if we don't have total protection, we're not going to produce these vaccines anymore. Well, I would have been, if I was president, I'd say, don't produce them. What do I care? There'll be someone who'll produce them. If they work, they're effective, they're safe, they'll be produced. And all you need is tort reform, but real tort reform. But the lawyers.
So you believe that the real problem here is tort reform? Well, that would solve many of the problems we have today.
It would lower healthcare costs, substantially. There's not even a question about it. But as a lawyer, I put my lawyer hat on. I don't want tort reform. I want as much litigation as possible. That's my business. My business isn't to make people healthy. My business is to sue people, or to defend people who are being sued. Either way, it doesn't make any difference. There's not even a question in my mind. The cesarean section rate in some of the Chicago hospitals is approaching 50%. Now, I don't think there's any doctor who can say that God made so many mistakes that half of the women in the Chicagoland area need to be delivered surgically. But I understand. I don't blame the doctors for that. The amount of lawsuits in obstetrics is overwhelming, and it's very difficult to defend yourself if you took an attitude of, I know that you're supposed to wait here, but if I wait and there's a bad outcome, I'm going to be sued. If I don't wait and I have a bad outcome, I can argue I did everything possible in order to bring about a good outcome. And that's just...
All right, before we go, what are your final thoughts on Obamacare?
I think it's going to unravel itself, and I think we're going to end up having a plan where you can buy insurance across the across states. And I think also that a logical federal plan is catastrophic care, severely catastrophic, and that's what we have to be protected against.
All right, that was Dr. Meir Eisenstein right here on WHDT World News. Stay tuned. We have the rest of today's headlines, all the news from Hollywood, and a full report on the weather coming up.